Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. Coming up in today's newscast, Israel's coalition crisis is resolved. Russia returns a historical war remnant to the Holy Land, and yet another Israeli athlete takes home an international medal. I'm Natasha Kirchak here with the latest news in Israel. We open with a big political update. The coalition crisis between Prime Minister Netanyahu and Minister Naftali Bennett has been resolved. And now Avigdor Lieberman has been approved to become the Minister of Defense. The government has unanimously approved Avigdor Lieberman to become Israel's new defense minister. Party member Sofa Landwehr was also voted in as immigration absorption leader, and Likud member Tzachi Hanegbi was made minister without portfolio. The new appointments come after Netanyahu and Bennett reached a compromise on Bennett's demands for an overhaul of the security cabinet, where ministers will be provided with real-time security updates and be given easier access to classified information. The 11th hour deal between Netanyahu and Bennett calls for the head of the National Security Council to temporarily serve as military attaché to the cabinet. This temporary solution will remain in place until a committee is formed by Netanyahu to find a more permanent solution. The 5-seat Israel Beitenu faction is now set to join the coalition, meaning the Netanyahu-led coalition will now grow from 61 to 66 seats in the 120-seat Knesset. Russia has agreed to return an Israeli tank that was captured by Syria during the First Lebanon War in 1982. The Magach 3 tank was captured alongside 3 Israeli soldiers during the Battle of Sultan Yaqub, and the event was considered one of Israel's worst failures in the war. The fate of the 3 Israeli soldiers manning the tank remains a mystery. 30 Israeli soldiers were killed and another 3 went missing in the 2-day battle against Syrian forces in the Bekaa Valley. The Syrians delivered Israel's tank to the Russian army following the tragic battle, and now Russia has agreed to give it back to the Jewish state after a request from the Israeli government. Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu has thanked Putin for the gesture, and veterans from the 1982 war have also expressed their gratitude.
אני מבקש להודות לנשיא רוסיה ולדימיר פוטין על שנענה לבקשתי ולבקשת הרמטכ"ל להחזיר לישראל את הטנק מקרב סולטן יעקוב.
As a young soldier, Deputy Defense Minister Rabbi Eli Ben-Dahan was involved in the rescue of Israeli tanks that were trapped by a Syrian ambush in the Battle of Sultan Yaqub. Dahan says that his artillery unit fired all night and into the morning, when the last of the battalion was finally rescued. The tank wasn't rescued, and the fate of the 3 missing soldiers is still unknown. Zachary Baumel, Tzvi Feldman, and Yehuda Katz went missing with the tank, and what happened to them remains a mystery until today. Every war has its heroes. The Gaza war in the summer of 2014 includes many stories of heroism within the ranks of the Israeli Defense Forces, but few of the stories are as compelling as that of American immigrant and lone soldier Shachar Elbaz. This week, Elbaz was given the Bonei Tzion Award in the Knesset for having confronted 4 Hamas terrorists while saving his unit. ILTV's Steve Leibowitz sat down with Elbaz to learn more about the incident.
In the summer of 2014, my unit was, we were given command to go into a mosque that was in South Gaza in Rafiach. And while we were working on the tunnels that we found in that mosque, I was put on guard. I was the only one open to fire. And in the time when I was on guard, 5 Hamas terrorists came running at me with Kalashnikovs, throwing grenades in my direction. So I had to retaliate. I started firing back. While I was firing back, my weapon jammed. I had to overcome that jam and keep firing. I was able to overcome that jam fairly quick and kill 4 out of the 5 terrorists.
You were lucky not to get wounded.
Yeah, it's from, I believe someone was watching over me, because I was open, I was sitting there, I was there like a sitting duck, but I did retaliate just as I was taught throughout my entire service in the army, and it came to play when, in real time, when they were shooting at me.
Is it a life-changing experience for you? Do you look at the world in a different way now?
I wouldn't say look at the world in a different way, but appreciate things a lot more. Appreciate the land that I live in Israel, the land that I'm willing to do anything to protect. That's my mindset, and that's the change of mind that I've gone through since that incident.
Sometimes the Israeli army comes under attack from people that claim that it's not humanitarian enough, that it doesn't take the enemy's lives into consideration enough. From what you could tell, what would you say about the IDF?
About the IDF, we have commanders in the IDF that I will follow with my eyes closed. That will do. They command me. They are sitting above us, and they understand the situation a lot more than just an average soldier or an average citizen. And I can tell you from my experience that every person that I came into contact with while at war was treated just as they were supposed to be treated. Citizen, terrorist, handicap, everyone was treated accordingly.
My son, and of course everyone in Israel, sons and daughters go to the army, pretty much universal conscription. But they have an advantage. They come home on the weekends and they have their parents there. You're a lone soldier. Isn't that tough, especially in wartime?
Right. Every Israeli has their parents when they come home. But I have my family. I have my friends. I have my brothers that served with me. I have my sisters and brothers that made Aliyah with me. So I have my own family to come back to and to talk about my service and what I went through. Just like the Israelis have their parents to come home to.
So, how did your family react to the news of your activity? I mean, did they come over here for this ceremony?
For this ceremony, no, they weren't able to come to, but they did come to the ceremony where I did receive the citation from the Chief of Staff. Something that was very important for them to come and support me.
Where do they live?
They live in Orange County, California, near Los Angeles. So they made the fly out back then when I received the citation from the Chief of Staff. Unfortunately, they're not here today, but I'm sure they're watching some live stream or waiting for it to come up on the news. Yeah.
So your army service is now complete. What are you going to do for real life?
For real life, gonna work a little bit, try traveling like every Israeli, and start studying in the next year or so.
Well, congratulations on your award, and thanks so much for being with us at ILTV.
Thank you so much. Thank you to ILTV. Have a great evening.
The U.S. presidential candidate Bernie Sanders has been under fire for his inflammatory statements about Israel. But now it looks like the self-proclaimed democratic socialist is expressing his support for the Jewish state. During a Meet the Press segment with NBC on Sunday, Bernie claimed he's pro-Israel, despite concerns from the American Jewish community.
I am 100% pro-Israel in the sense of Israel's right to exist. I lived in Israel. I have families in Israel. Israel has the right to live not only in peace and security, but to know that their very existence will be protected by the United States government. On the other hand, I think if we're looking at lasting peace in the Middle East, the United States has got to respect the needs of the Palestinian people. They cannot be pushed aside. So that is my view.
Some Jewish Democrats have expressed concern after Bernie appointed 3 Israel critics to help draft the party's platform: Representative Keith Ellison, Cornel West, and James Zogby. Both West and Zogby have said they would seek to change the party's policy on Israel to show more sympathy for the Palestinian side of the conflict. Sanders' Democratic competitor Hillary Clinton has long insisted that her 2016 platform will reflect the party's long-standing strong support for Israel. As we all now know, Avigdor Lieberman has just been appointed as Israel's new defense minister. While the Israeli prime minister seems to think he's a right fit, many Israelis are concerned about his lack of military experience. Meir Eliran is a senior researcher at the Institute for National Security Studies, and he joins us with his insight. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Natasha.
So, to begin, this isn't the first time that Israel has had a defense minister who is not a high-ranked officer, correct?
This is very correct. We had ministers of defense, quite a few of them who were not, in the military beforehand or didn't have any concrete military experience. To name just one who is very famous is Shimon Peres, for example. Right. Shimon Peres was a very, very he respected the defense minister, but there was another one who also was not in the military beforehand, Misha Arens, who was 3 times Minister of Defense, and he is one of the best ones. So no, the answer is that I don't think that we need to have a general as a Minister of Defense.
What are the pros and cons of having somebody who has a strong security
I
history?
think that this is a very minute kind of an issue. I mean, if the Prime Minister is thinking of different personalities to select as his defense minister, I think that the question of him being or not being an ex-ranking officer is a very, very, distant kind of a consideration. Mostly, it's a political consideration, because you have to understand that in Israel, the government, unlike in the US, for example, in other countries, this is a coalition system. So what he has to do is to keep up his coalition in such a way that it will be, lasting and keeps on working. And this was his number one consideration this time. The Prime Minister understood or thought that the very slim majority that he had was not appropriate for him, conducting the government and the different decisions that have to be there. So he looked around and he thought that the best way for him is to expand the government, and what he had there as the number one option, and he selected some others, was to take Lieberman.
So speaking of this new coalition, is Israeli society ready for what's happening right now?
Well, I think it is, even though it is a little bit, hesitating about that. Lieberman, you have to understand, has been in politics for a long time already. But he is quite a different person in many ways. And one of the things that really differentiate him from other politicians, that he is very frank, speaking very openly about his thoughts. Number one, he is a very clear right-winger. There is no doubt about that. And he doesn't hide it. On the contrary, he makes a point out of it. And whereas, in other cases, some right-wing politicians will be a little bit more vague about their political ideas, he is not. He is very clear. He expresses his opinions in a very, very crude, can I say, clear manner. So, when people listen or remember what he used to say until today, they are somewhat concerned, perhaps.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the peace process as well. Right now, peace is on everybody's mind. We have the French Peace Initiative.
Yeah.
How will this new coalition, with Avigdor Lieberman as defense minister, affect that peace process?
Well, if you ask me, I would be very surprised if there is any change in the present government's attitude towards the peace process as compared to what was the situation the last year. If there is any kind of a change, it will only be to be more so. In other words, to be more firm on the Israeli positions and to be less willing to consider different kinds of initiatives that are not in line with the prime minister's or the right-wing coalition's mind. So I don't think that in this respect, Lieberman's introduction, or him joining the cabinet or the minister the coalition would change anything. But there are other issues which are as relevant and perhaps more acute. Perhaps 2 of them. Number one is what's happening in the West Bank in terms of the terrorism and the way we handle it, and whether this is going to bring some kind of a change in the policy of the military in the territories, perhaps to be a little bit more firm on terror. And this is one issue. And the second one is, of course, the situation in Gaza. What's going to happen there? And again, Lieberman expressed himself very, very clearly and very bluntly, I would say, on those 2 issues until yesterday, okay? If he would be persistent in terms of, what he says and what he's actually going to do, then there's going to be a change, because the former defense minister, who is very, very involved, of course, in what's happening in those two arenas, then it might be a little bit some kind of a change in this respect. So if you ask me, as far as the peace process in general, no, I don't expect any major change. But as far as the actual handling of the different situations, both in the West Bank and in Gaza, there might be a problem, there might be a change, not necessarily though.
Well, we just have to stay optimistic and hope for the best.
Let's do that, Natasha, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yet another Israeli athlete has taken home a major international medal. This time it's gymnast Alex Shatilov, who seems to have picked up some much-needed confidence ahead of the Rio Olympics. Shatilov scaled the podium again to claim the bronze medal at the European Gymnastics Championship yesterday. This was the 8th career medal for Shatilov, who's headed to the Olympics this summer in Rio. Shatilov finished 3rd in the floor exercise at the championship taking place in Bern, Switzerland. The 29-year-old Israeli is trying to reach his peak at the Rio Olympics, where he'll fight to win his first Olympic medal. This won't be his first time competing in the Olympics. He's already participated in 3 Olympics, and he even finished in 6th place in the 2012 Olympics in London. Shatilov has 2 World Championship bronze medals from 2009 and 2011, and 6 European Championship medals, including 1 gold, 1 silver, and 3 bronze. The star athlete has had groundbreaking achievements for Israeli gymnastics throughout his career, but he's struggled with his form in the past couple of years. Either way, keep your eyes out for him at the Rio Olympics because he'll be representing Israel to the best of his ability. If you love art, it looks like Tel Aviv is a place to visit. Israel's White City has an incredibly thriving art scene, and most nights you can easily find some underground DIY opening with your favorite local DJ. A quick check on Facebook and you're there. ILTV's Aaron Porras joins us with an exclusive from just one such event.
Florentine is the art and culture center of South Tel Aviv, and it's an excellent area for art lovers to find themselves. Local gallery manager Rita Rosenberg invited us for a special exhibition at the Urban Secret Art Gallery.
We're making this party for the neighborhood, mainly. Yeah, so we have this amazing DJ, Baron Samdi. Yeah, really amazing guy. Yeah, who came all the way from France to make this for us. And yeah, we also made a collaboration with the new Florentina Bar Cafe. They designed a special menu of drinks and fish and chips, and it's all for you guys. It's all for the neighborhood to enjoy art and nice drinks and nice food and nice music.
Even though the gallery is hidden in the shell of an old synagogue, it's filled with the works of various international artists, along with fans of edgy media who came from all over the world to see the show.
Yeah, as you can see from the design, we got our inspiration from urban lofts of Chicago and New York. So we decided to do something like that in Tel Aviv because I think Tel Aviv is the mecca of street art, and we are for street art. And yeah, we exhibit mainly urban artists, street artists, and the best place was Florentine, so we just opened it here.
Okay, so actually let's talk a little bit about that. What is the exhibit tonight?
Tonight we exhibit new collection by Daniel Siboni. He's our artist, the creative director, the co-owner, the star in the world of photography, and we also have other artists that we also wanted to present tonight and to spread the word about our art.
Tel Aviv, it's the place of the art. I have also one gallery I had one gallery in Los Angeles. So I start there, and I start to shoot in Los Angeles with many artists. I follow them, and they call me when they put some art in the street, and I go to shoot with my angle and my framing. And when I come in Tel Aviv, I saw that I met some people in the fashion. And I met those people from the fashion, the model agency, the brand and everything, and I say in myself, bon, I make it so long time. I don't want to do that again. So let's make what I love, the art, the street art. And I say, okay, I come. My first meeting was in Florentine with the owner of the one model agency. And when I come here, I say, this area is crazy because here you have all the carpenter, all the people, the worker, and I need all those workers because I work with the mixed media. So I like to mix, to print on the iron, to print on the wood, to stick, to paint again. And here I find all those people for have all the techniques and everything for do it here. So I say, okay, my place is Florentine.
The theme of the night was clearly focused on Florentine's reputation for attracting young entrepreneurial artists from all over the world. Possibly the most shining example, though, was DJ Baron Samdi.
Well, I've spent 14 years in France. I've owned 2 bars there. And, well, I'm from here originally, but I left quite young. And I just felt it was time for like a new chapter in life. And I felt like Tel Aviv was the right place to do it, to express myself artistically.
In the end, after visiting just one exhibit in Tel Aviv's art district, it becomes absolutely clear that no matter the reason for coming, there's one simple reason to stay.
So it's a crazy place and it's beautiful.
This is Aaron Porras, reporting for ILTV.
And now for our Hebrew word of the day. We all need some color in our lives, so today's word is tzeva, which means color in Hebrew. Israel is a colorful country from the blue Mediterranean to the Red Sea to the green Carmel Mountain. And it can be hard to pick your favorite tzeva with so many beautiful colors to see. But most Israelis will tell you, "Atzeva sheli hu kachol velavan," or "My colors are blue and white." Can you guess why? Israel's national colors are blue and white, and so many popular songs and phrases are related to the beautiful tzvaim. So if you live abroad and you want to represent Israel, put on some blue and white apparel to share your favorite tzvaim with the world. Let's go ahead and take a look at the weather forecast. The sun will be out strong for the next couple of days. Tomorrow is expected to be sunny with a high of 82 degrees. The temperature will jump up to 86 on Wednesday, so make sure you put on some sunscreen. All right, everybody, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.85 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at iltv.tv, and don't forget to check out our evening update every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tonight.